Since you guys don't get to see very much of Babyface, she is usually hiding somewhere. I thought maybe you would enjoy saying hello to Babyface this morning. I think Babyface is done chasing the lizard. How about we get back to the garden tour? Good morning from the meadow! Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and this is my meadow, and I am excited to be here for our June virtual monthly garden tour. If you've been following me, you may notice that I am lacking some accessories this morning. My arm is out of the sling, and now the real work for restoring my shoulder begins. And so I get to learn how to use my arm all over again, and I am getting better. I don't think we can see it in this video, but I can almost get my hand on the screen. Did I do it? Yeah, I did. That is as far as I can move my hand, but that's further than it was. So that is progress, my friends. Had to buy myself a new coffee mug because this one just screamed buy me. Considering my one-handed skills, I think everything in the garden has been growing really well. Let's take a look at what's growing on, my friends. The first thing I'm excited to show you, I have stairs. I am so excited to have some stairs to walk down out into the meadow. All right, so we're going to walk down the stairs here and take a look at what's growing on, my friends. Out here, along the back of my property line, is where we're growing a bunch of fruit trees, and I actually call this orchard row back here. Most of it is citrus. But I am really excited to see things are doing well back here. I like it back here. Everything is still in containers. Eventually, they will be in some raised garden beds. The way the property slopes down, it really adds a lot of water back here, and I think it'll be good for the plants. But everything along here is looking great. Hidden somewhere among all this Biden's alba is a Myers lemon. And I actually see that I have some lemons on back there. We have a lime tree. We have an elderberry tree. Get elderberries on it. Here we have another Myers lemon and a sweet gum tree that needs to be pulled out of there. We have a tangerine tree here. I don't see any fruit on it, but we just bought that at around Christmas time. We have a Cattley Guava here that I transplanted into this grow bag, and it is starting to put on some flowers. I saw flowers yesterday. Where are they? I feel like this particular plant has some of the prettiest flowers to be like a little fruit flower. They're just lovely. They look like something out of the 60s and mid-century modern when they pop out. They're on long stamens, and then they have the little starburst thing going on. Then we have our tangerine tree that is definitely looking better than it did during the last garden tour. Our lemon tree, let me back up here a little bit, and a mulberry tree. I told you guys about the vivipary tomato. We've talked about that a few times, and I have managed to give some tomatoes away, but the ones that are still here that have not been able to be planted anywhere else are still growing. They don't care. It's time to fertilize them again. I'm going to add some Espoma tomato tone to them, but I've got one there that I need to harvest. And the tomatillo in the solo cup just doesn't seem to care either. Last weekend, we updated how we were doing the passion fruit over here. And so the passion fruit, it was trying to grow over the fence, and I didn't want to be a bad neighbor. And so we made an A-shaped frame with our cattle panels, and now they're just leaning against each other. We have put a zip tie on them, and lo and behold, they are starting to grab on. So that made me very, very happy. The greenhouse is reaching the ends of things. I harvested a whole bunch of Napa cabbage out of here yesterday. The little tomatoes that are hanging on that overwintered in here are still doing lovely. We're drying out some broccoli seed in here to make microgreens. And I have a little bit of chard that's still growing on back there. And one broccoli that was supposed to be a spinach seed. So how about that? All right, so let's walk on to the next section here. The Cattley Guava. This still remains 2 plants in 2 buckets, and it is covered. There's no way we have less than 2,000 pieces of fruit on here. I am super excited. Hopefully we'll have enough that we'll be able to not only share, but maybe make a couple of jams with it and some other things. So I'm very excited about that. And I don't think I did it on the last garden tour, but we have a little hidden treasure inside of here. Down underneath, at the winter, I tossed in the blackberry bush to keep it warm. And then the branches got broken. It's really hard to see. And the other day I looked over here and it said, it doesn't care that you hid me underneath the Cattley Guava because I am going to find my way up. And so this growing out of the middle of the Cattley Guava is a blackberry. And so it seems to be really happy now to find its way back to the sun. So don't ever count your plants out. This little guy right here is an avocado. I found the avocado pit growing in my compost bin, so I decided to throw it in a bucket. Well, I definitely have to pot it up because I picked it up to move it, and the roots are already coming out of the bottom of this little pot. And so I need to put it in something bigger so that it can keep on growing. Now, I expect it would take like 7 years for me to have avocado from it, but it's the first time I've ever had an avocado sprout and actually make it to something other than a piece of rotten seed. So that is exciting. Aside from the really crazy Cattley Guava, the blueberries have been lovely. We put these IKEA baskets over the top, and it's helping us keep more for ourselves. And if I zoom in right here, you can see that I have some that can be picked this morning. This is the original garden bed we put in, and the cucumbers and squash that are over here are having a heyday. But something else is kind of cool. This piece of stick here is an old okra plant that I did not take out last year. And can you see that green? That green is attached. This okra plant does not care that its season is over, because guess what, my friends? It is making new okra. I'm very excited. I've actually even eaten a few of these. The cucumber is growing on up, and I'm starting to see some little itty bitty cucumbers there. These are very likely lemon cucumbers. They are growing strong every place I planted them. And when we get to the other side, I'll have to tell you the rest of that joke. So the Banana Circle has an announcement to make. It would like you all to know that we're expecting. We are expecting bananas. I am so excited, y'all. Check this out. All the rest of the plants look great. They're doing really, really well. I should have done a better job of pruning them back, but at this point I'm going to let it grow, and then we'll figure it out next year. Aside from the bananas in here, I am also growing taro right there. Behind the taro is sweet potato. And I got to tell you, right here it looks like corn. So I don't know what's growing on right there, but I'm going to leave that for a little bit. Oh, actually that might be my ginger. That's ginger. I planted some ginger here and forgot all about it. And I kept having this bare spot, so I put something else here, and it stayed bare, and then I put something else here. So now we have ginger, taro, and sweet potatoes all growing together because, because that definitely is a funny thing that a gardener does. Hey, nothing's here. Let's plant something else here. But some of the taro is doing really, really well too. So here's more taro here, and it's looking really good. All right, now we have our rain tanks, which y'all have seen before. This little cover is going great. I'm loving it. The only thing I don't like about it is I can't see how full the tank is. But other than that, I love having them covered now, and I think it makes them look a lot better back here in the yard. This, we have the south garden, and I decided to allow us to have a wild section here, and so as long as it stays inside the bed here, I'm letting wildflowers grow for the pollinators. I am trying to build up the life of this bed, and so it's starting to look a little crazy now, but I really love it. I've planted beans in here. We've got beans, onions, tomatillos, these beautiful Asian long beans that I did not plant this year, but they were planted here last year, so they have reseeded themselves, so that's fantastic. To me, these bean blooms are just showy and show off, and they're just lovely. They almost remind me of tiny orchids. Everything here is just growing really much better. I mulched it all in a few weeks ago, and everything is really looking a lot better. This gets beaten down by the sun a lot, and so we're trying to bring up the life of the soil. I don't want to just keep fertilizing. I want actually to build the soil. And so we've mulched it now. We've added the beans in so that they can die back and add nutrients to the soil, add nitrogen to the soil. We have a soaker hose that runs over underneath, and so I just swap out one hose for the other, depending on what kind of watering I'm doing. Can you see that pink-ish, burgundy-ish okra there? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to have a bite of that later. I'm gonna have to take that one off. I just have snacks. One of the challenges that I had the first year that I was gardening here is I was like, there is never enough for a meal. And I've learned that I just give up on that idea. Is there enough for a snack? And so I'll have 2 or 3 pieces of okra raw with my lunch, or we'll slice a tomato. It might be tiny tomatoes, but so I get 2 tiny tomatoes on my salad. I used to think I needed to wait until I had enough to make a meal, and I don't have to wait till I have enough to make a meal. I just eat what I have and enjoy the blessings of what the garden is giving me. So that makes me really happy. Now, you guys are going to be super, super excited for this. Check out the Pollinator Garden up front. The agapanthus is showing off. One did finally bloom. The zinnia is showing off. The gaillardia is repopping out. I killed something called the gazzinnia right there. It really isn't a Florida native, and it couldn't take the Florida heat up here, and so bye-bye. I'll plant something else in there that can take the Florida heat. And we do have milkweed for the butterflies, that's right. In fact, if the wasp hasn't gotten them all, I see tiny holes. Tiny holes in your milkweed is a really good sign that you have some monarch instars on there, monarch caterpillars. The hummingbirds were having a lovely time on the purple salvia. They came through, checked it out, and buzzed on by. The winged beans. In fact, I see another one. I picked some. I see another one on there. They are starting to put on now. This little fig is doing much better this year. Much better this year. The 2 plums are growing into their own, so that is fantastic. The persimmons are definitely showing off. We've got potatoes, onions, and okra coming on right here. This amazing fig tree. More potatoes here. Now, some of these potatoes are not looking good. So I don't know if I've got a critter that is eating them at the root, or if it needs a little more love. I did get a vine borer. I had a beautiful, amazing zucchini plant right here. It was about 2 feet tall, and vine borers got all the way down to the root and cut everything off at the root, which made me sad. We got sweet potatoes coming in here. We've got a lot of volunteer beans here, and a lot of volunteers in this garden. Volunteer cabbage. All this in the middle is volunteer. It's not in a garden bed. So we have got a lot more volunteer cabbage in this bed, and it's going to seed, and I think I'm going to just let it flower up here. We've got different tomatoes. We have got a winter melon back there. Let's see if I can zoom in, and you see that guy right there? Kind of looks like a long watermelon. It's about 12 inches long now. We have over here volunteers of all kinds, volunteer sweet potatoes. I was going to let this bed rest this year, but the sweet potatoes decided they wanted to regrow. We've got Malabar spinach and more beans. And then on this end, I have planted tomatoes. And the squash looks terrible. So I got to figure something out here. Here we have some more winter melon, tomatillos, and potatoes. And check this out, y'all. You ready? Are you ready? Ooh. Corn. I know, I'm corny, but I'm so excited about the corn. I did corn in succession, and so we have corn that's been planted for many weeks here, and then we have corn that's been planted for just a few weeks down below, in hopes that we have corn later and corn soon. Also have some winter squash growing in here and some more potatoes. If y'all have watched any of my YouTube videos, you know I've talked a little bit about the garden beds. I am very excited now to be an affiliate and ambassador for both of the companies. So it's going to be kind of fun to be able to share that journey with that. And as I'm growing these, be paid a little bit of a commission should someone choose to buy one based on my recommendations. So I'm very excited about that. Hey, this is Michelle, and while I'm editing, I thought it's important to tell you that regardless of that ambassador program or commissions, I'm always going to give you my honest opinion about how things are working out for me, because that is the most important thing, is sharing my true experiences. Oh, I did forget one thing here I was going to tell you about. This was funny. I think everything's either funny or exciting if you haven't watched my videos before. Aside from the cute cucumbers I showed you over there, I planted 4 different cucumbers over here, replanted cucumbers, and I think we have one now left over here. One teeny tiny little cucumber right there. I planted about 15 or 16 different cucumber plants. One of those cucumber plants was going to be an experiment, a lemon cucumber. I've never grown one before, but I went ahead and planted 4 pots of that. I did 4 pots of my English, like they're long English cucumbers, and then I did some straight 8 market slicer cucumbers, so I wanted some variety. The only cucumber that I currently have growing are the ones I wanted to experiment with. So I guess nature's trying to tell me it's time to experiment with the lemon cucumbers, because they are growing like wild, and I can't find that have any of the others left from where either I lost them before they transplanted, or I lost them after they transplanted, or I reseeded actually these over here and lost 3 of the 4 over here. I feel like nature's trying to tell me to keep trying. What do you think? I mean, because that's what we have to do, right? We just have to keep trying. If we don't keep trying, what else is there? We have the lovely and beautiful avocado tree. Oh, here we go. It's going to be a few more months until we can harvest them, but I think we're better than 50 units on the tree, 50 avocados on the tree. So we have some that are growing very low, and I found one on the ground yesterday that someone had chewed through. I suspect the raccoons. And so what I have done is I have set out a little trail cam. Maybe you can see it right there. I've set out a little trail cam, and I'm going to start moving it around the garden and see if I can figure out what's messing with stuff. I'm probably on the lower ones going to need to put some more of those gift bags like I did for the nectarines to sort of discourage them from chewing them. I mean, I can't really blame them though. I mean, gosh, the avocados are touching the ground. And next year I will prune that up so we don't have avocados laying on the ground either. Not that the raccoons can't skinny up this tree and get anything that they want, for sure. So in this bed, let's see, this is the birdie's bed. I harvested a whole bunch of cabbage last night, and we had cabbage soup and cabbage stir fry for dinner. We have wasabi growing in here, some mini bell peppers. There's still some more cabbage, shishito peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. And y'all, I gotta back up so you can actually get the full effect of this trellis now, because the cucumbers are growing right on up like they don't even care. And I'm starting to see some fruit setting on there as well. And these are more of the lemon cucumbers. Across the neighbor, across from that, is the tomatillos. And then we have more peppers. And the star of the show today, at least to me, this right here that you're looking at is one plant, and it is a Thai eggplant. And I'm going to harvest some today. You can harvest, and they have a long shelf life once you harvest them. So we want to harvest them while they're still young and tender. And I raised the hoops on this, the hoops and netting, about 2 weeks ago, and the plant has already grown up to the top of it again. So I think at some point I'm just going to have to take the hoops and netting off, and hopefully we won't have too many critters in here trying to help themselves. So we will see. We got some more peppers here, more bell peppers, and I am trying lettuce. It seems pretty late in the season to have lettuce, but so far this end of the bed gets a good bit of shade in the morning, and then a good bit of shade in the afternoon as the sun comes over the other way. And so far the lettuce is growing on up, and we've been able to have a salad, and I'm kind of excited about that. I mean, really what plants care about is they don't care about your zone. They don't care about all those things. They care about having the right temperature. They care about having enough water. They care about having enough nutrition. They care about having enough sunlight. So, I mean, really it isn't so much about what the season is as what the conditions are for making the plants grow like we want them to grow. I want to show you all the patio, but before I head back up there, I want to show you the turtle nest, because we're getting close, probably a few weeks away now. It's kind of understated. You wouldn't even know it's there, but we watched the mama about 6 weeks ago dig this out and lay her eggs in this little hole. And so this week sometime I'm going to attempt to put a little fencing around this to try to keep the cats from doing anything to the turtles as they emerge. We're expecting them in the next 2 to 3 weeks if the conditions are right. We'd love to see them pop out. That would be really fun, wouldn't it? This is a Greenstalk. I did a video for you all when we started putting them together. It is being underutilized at the moment, but got some daikon radish in here. Some things have gone to seed. A little more lettuce, some onions. Over here is my wife's dragon fruit plant. So it has really taken off now that it's been here in the full sun. She's been getting it the nutrition it needs here in the container, because you do have to build the soil up when you have a container garden as well. We've been learning more about soil building, and we hope to continue doing good things there as well. Some shishito peppers, a little dragon's tail plant that a neighbor gave me. The crown of thorns are finally doing their thing. Worm food. After I picked the cabbage yesterday, I sat on the patio and took all the parts off we didn't want to eat, and so I'm leaving it here to dry to go into the worm bin or into the compost bin. More dragon fruit. I really am hoping that we'll see some flowers this year and that we'll get 1 or 2 dragon fruit. That would be a great start after this plant had such a rough life the first year it stayed in the garage, so that would be good. More shishito peppers. This was the orange hat tomato. The other day I looked down, I had taken those out, and I guess an old tomato had dropped, and we now have 2 new plants that are popping up. And I took a couple of the old tomatoes that that weren't edible, and I buried them down. So we could have three or 4 of the orange hat tomatoes here, and they only grow to 9 or 10 inches. And so this pot's perfect and can support that many. Then finally we have the other Greenstalk, also underutilized, but has become basil central. So this is Thai basil central at the moment, except that's a pepper. We've got Thai basil growing on here. We have got some Thai eggplant at the top. We've got cilantro that I'm letting go to seed that makes some pretty flowers here. And I have been trimming back the Thai basil and putting into the other pockets for now until I get ready to start planting some other stuff in here. And that's it. Well, except for some abandoned seedlings on the table. That's everything that's growing on. For folks who are maybe watching for the first time, I am in zone 9A in Northeast Florida. We have a long, hot and humid growing season. We are past really the point of putting seeds in now. I'm getting ready to start thinking about my fall garden. I haven't even really done a big harvest yet from this garden. Well, I've not done a big single harvest. I harvest every day, and in fact, I've been adding to Instagram my daily harvest because I think it'll be really fun to look at for 1 month all the things that we have picked. And June should be a pretty prolific month. The cucumbers should be coming in. We've had tomatoes off and on for months now, and so I think it's just going to be a lovely thing to see everything that's been growing on here in the garden. If you guys have any comments, feel free to put them in the comments below. Any questions you may have about the garden, I do my best to go back through and answer those on a regular basis. Everyone, thank you for watching. If you like this content, feel free to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to see more of our monthly tours and find out what's growing on around our little suburban garden. Until next time, drink plenty of water and wear your sunscreen. Have a fantastic day.